welcome to my channel. My name is Sylvia and today I'm going to start turning this painting that I've been having sitting around for quite some time because it was frustrating me, and turning it into a masterpiece. Now I'm going to do it over several videos because I'm going to take my time with it, and I'm also going to make sure that it'll dry as well, so like in between certain layers. Now you probably look at it and sort of go, hey, that looks pretty cool. Well, I wasn't happy with it, and I wasn't happy with where it was going, so I put it away. Then I picked it up months and months later, and I sort of went, you know what, it was actually starting to look really, really good, but I couldn't see it at the time. So what I'm actually going to do is, because this was done in acrylic paints, I'm actually going to start using oil paints because the weather here in Australia has become absolutely ridiculous. So to the point where I've got roller shutters down, windows shut, ceiling fan going like crazy, which basically means the acrylic paints are going to dry super fast. By using oil paints, I've got a lot more time to work with it, so it's going to make my life a lot easier. So yeah, anyhow, I'm just going to tell you the kind of colours that I'm going to be using. And yes, I'm using my brand spanking new palette, which was a fridge glass shelf, which I have done a video not that long ago, just a few days ago. But what I've got is titanium white, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, sap green. Now I'm actually pretty much out of sap green, so I haven't got a lot there. So what I've done is I've also put aside some emerald green because I've still got some of that left, and hopefully I can sort of create a sort of a sap green colour with it. I've done it before, I'm sure I can do it again. I've got some crimson, cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, raw sienna, burnt sienna and burnt umber. And those are pretty much the colours that I want to work with. I don't want to add more colours to it. So let's just begin, shall we? And I will talk through it step by step, what I'm going to do, etc. Now hopefully the lighting is okay. I am struggling in here at the moment because normally I would have the window open, well, the roller shutters up, so it gives me all that natural light, where at the moment I don't have it. However, we just work with what we can. So let's just begin, shall we? So what I'm going to do, first of all, is grab my little jar with my odourless paint thinners, and I'm going to grab I'll grab a 1-inch brush. I'm just going to dip it a little bit into the turfs just to wet the bristles. And I've got a paper towel, a cloth towel here, but I might end up reverting to a paper towel if I need to. If I find this is starting to get too grubby, I'll go to a paper towel so I can just throw it out. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I'm actually going to mix with my palette knife a little bit of the sap green and a little bit of the sorry, not ultramarine, don't do that, girl, with a little bit of the phthalo green, just to darken it up a little bit. So it's more on the bluey side rather than the green side. And what I'm going to do is just load my brush very lightly. Like you can barely see that I've got paint on there, okay? So it's nicely thinned down. And I'm just going to go over this area here. Now what I might actually have to do is zoom in a little bit, so just bear with me for a second. That might be a little bit better. I'm going to have to hold on to my easel because it's trying to escape me. And all I'm doing is just sort of brushing it over the top there. A little bit more of the terps. And basically once I've dunked it in just a little bit, I just dab it a couple of times on my rag. Grab some more, nicely watered down. And we'll just put that over the top here. Like so. Now I'm just smushing it around a bit. And this will dry really quick as well because of the terps. Now I just grabbed it and made it a little bit thicker. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of the burnt sienna into the mix, and that pretty much gives me like a sort of a olive type colour, and we're just going to add that in. Now what I might do is speed the video up a bit so that I don't bore you guys too much, but I won't cut anything out so that you can still see the process of covering up what we don't want. And it's basically everything up here that I'm kind of not happy with, so I want to cover it up. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm actually going to go into the ultramarine blue, and I'm going to cover this waterfall up and everything else that's here as well. But first I've got to make sure that my brush is nice and clean. I'm going to grab this number 12 flat brush, and what we're going to do is we're going to start, you know, putting stuff back in. And this is where I'm going to have to really think about it, because I don't want to end up feeling like the way I felt before when I did it in acrylics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some ultramarine blue and some burnt umber, I'm going to add a tiny bit of crimson into it. Now by putting those colours together, what you get is actually a dark brown, okay? And that's what we want. We want a dark brown. Now I could have taken the easy way out and just gone, well, I'll just use some black, but I've actually decided I'm going to try and stay away from black and just mix my colours instead. What I'm going to do is really load the brush up, and I haven't added any paint thinners at all to this, none. So it's paint and paint only. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create some interesting effects over here. So it literally looks like, you know, whatever's growing in, like all the bushes and that, like there's a bit of earth tone towards the bark, like in the background. Okay, so what I've just done, I've mixed up some sap green with a little tiny bit of crimson and some phthalo blue to give me a super dark colour. And I'll show you on my brush. As you can see, it's a very dark colour. It's not green, but it's also not blue, but it's a mixture of the two. And this is going to be good for our dark colours in the background. So I'm going to start in the corner over here, and I'm just going to dab it on. We want to have the dark colours down first, and then we work on towards the lighter colours. As usual, so I thought I'd better go and change them so I can actually see what I'm doing. And if you would notice, I'm actually going into the brown area, because what we're putting down here is literally our shrubs. Hence why I'm just dabbing it on. And don't worry, it's going to turn into an absolute mess before we turn it into our masterpiece. So something you've got to remember is every time you start off with a painting, it's going to end up looking like a complete mess to begin with. But once we start putting all the fine details in, then it starts looking like something that's basically a wow factor. So okay, so what we want to do now, because I want a different colour in this area here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some ultramarine blue and a little bit of the crimson, and I'm going to mix those two together, which is going to create a purple. But what I want is a dark purple for the minute. Because as you've got to remember is we're putting our darker colour down first. So what I'm going to do is pick up some of the purple now, and I'm going to put it in here. And I'm literally just bouncing the brush around. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of the yellow ochre and add it to our green mix. Because what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start adding slightly lighter colours in, because I want it lighter in here, but sort of like blended in with the darker colour for the minute, because this is where it's going to be our lightest point later on down the track. So although I'm using a lighter colour, it's still reasonably darker, okay? I'm going to add that in here. And I'm not going too close to where we had the waterfall, because we're going to be playing around with that, and then we end up ending up putting the little shrubs that we're putting in, or ferns, whatever, to sort of go over the waterfall so it covers any particular lines in it. And it's the same thing with where we've put all the brown. Although you've got the brown there, we're sort of, you know, making it so that it looks like it's just sort of peeking through. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually mixing the two colours together to sort of soften it up a little bit, and it'll give us some special effects later too. Again, I'm staying away from the edge here. Now I'm going to go back into the purple, but I haven't cleaned my brush. going to put some of that purple here. Now I'm just picking up a little bit of the darker green that we made up, but I will end up having to make some more up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave that alone for the minute so that I can sort of have a think about how much more I want to do to it right now before I allow it to dry for a few days. So what I'll do is I'll go and make myself a cuppa, maybe, or just drink it, I don't know, a gallon of water or something, I don't know, because I am very, very thirsty as well. And then I'll come back and I'll let you know what the decision is going to be on what I'm going to do next. So stick around, and I promise this won't be too long. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put some more water here, and we're going to start sort of putting the special effects in. Maybe I'll see how I go, and I'm going to call it a day. We're going to let it dry for a few days, and then we'll come back to it and do some more work to it. So what I'm actually going to do is I've got a number 22 flat brush, and I'm going to go now into some phthalo blue. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put it down and pull it down like that. And we're going to put a little bit there too, because I actually want it like a, so it looks like the waterfall comes from a couple of places. And we're just going to try and cover this bit up here. Not sure how much luck I'll have because of the paint being so wet, but we'll see. Might be able to cover it up a little bit. If we can't, it doesn't matter, we can work on it later. Just like that. Okay, now obviously you're sort of thinking, well, you've got all that paint on your palette and you're going to leave this for a few days. What are you going to do? The simple answer to that is I'm actually going to get some cling wrap, and I'm going to wrap it around my palette to stop it from drying out. Okay? Easiest way to do it. Yes, you're going to end up having a little bit of wastage when you take the cling wrap back off. However, you'd still be able to continue using your paint that you've got on your palette. And if it gets too hot, what I can always do is put the palette into the fridge. Whoops, sorry guys, I just bumped you. And you know, with the cling wrap around it, and you can keep it fresh that way too. Okay, so if you want to see, if you're new to my channel and you want to see more of this type of video or any of my other videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, and please give us a thumbs up. It'll really help me out. So I'm not sure what kind of video I'm going to do tomorrow, because obviously we're going to let this dry. However, whatever it'll be, I'm sure it'll be something pretty awesome. So I will catch you guys tomorrow with another video. And as I say, this is stage 1. We're going to have several stages in order to finalise this. This is not a Bob Ross painting like I used to love doing, because I could put a painting together within half an hour to an hour, depending on the size of the canvas, etc. But I really wanted to do something different here and really sort of, you know, take my time, do the job properly, you know, not doing a rush job. So you get to see how I'm going to do that. And as I say, using oil paints instead of acrylics, which has its advantages but disadvantages. The disadvantage is the drying time, but the advantage of it is it doesn't dry too quick like acrylics will, so you've got more work time. So anyhow, I'll catch you guys tomorrow with another video. Bye!